Hello and welcome to the Public Human Resource Management course. This is Professor Sultanat Liebert at VCU. Today's lecture is an introduction to HRM. Best practices in online education tell us that video lectures shouldn't be more than 10 to 15 minutes. This is why these video lectures will not cover all of the material that you could find in the textbook. The lectures will highlight a few important points and provide a big picture, but you still need to do the assigned reading to fully understand the course material. Human resource management is a formal system in an organization that is designed to ensure the effective use of employee skills, knowledge, and abilities in order to achieve organizational goals. Strategic human resource management takes these responsibilities one step further by aligning them with the goals of other departments and overall organizational goals. HR departments that practice strategic human resource management do not work independently in a silo. They interact with other departments within the organization in order to understand their goals. Then, they create strategies that align with those objectives as well as those of the whole organization. Functions of the human resource management can be divided into four broad categories. These are planning, acquisition, development, and sanction. This course is organized around these categories as well. Each function has its own techniques, methods, and best practices. The first category is HR planning. HR planning is having the right number of people with the right skills working in the right jobs at the right time. HR planning includes functions that need to be performed before the position is advertised. These functions are budget planning, job analysis, job classification, and deciding what pay level the position should be at. HR planning also includes succession planning, which is the process of systematically identifying, assessing, and developing talent and capacity to ensure continuity in specific positions within the organization. Acquisition functions in HR include recruitment and selection of employees, which is the main topic of Lesson 7. In that lesson, we will discuss various techniques and procedures used in recruitment of personnel. In this course, we will examine four development functions of human resource professionals. The first function is motivation of employees. We will look at various theories of human motivation and discuss the best ways to keep the human capital of public organizations motivated. Training is the second development function that will be reviewed in this course. We will look at how to assess your training needs in an organization, how to set up and organize training programs, and how to evaluate the outcomes of the trainings that have been conducted. And finally, we will conclude the overview of the development function by examining the issues of safety and health in the workplace. This lesson will introduce you to the legal framework for safety and health, such as Americans with Disabilities Act, Family and Medical Leave Act, and others. We will also look at the issue of workplace violence and what your responsibility as a manager or HR professional is to prevent and respond to actual or potential violence at your organization. Finally, we will examine the sanction function of HR. We will start out by looking at the issues of organizational justice, such as disciplining and applying sanctions against unproductive employees, while observing their constitutional and statutory rights. We will also discuss potential liabilities that public employees face while performing their job duties. How is HR in the public sector different from HR in the private sector? While a lot of fundamentals are the same, there are several key differences. One of the key differences between HR in the public and private sectors is the legal context. Public sector organizations are bound by federal and state constitutions and numerous laws, some of which do not apply to private sector organizations. The important difference is in the rights of public sector workers. Private sector workers are at-will employees and may be dismissed from their jobs more easily than public sector employees. Traditionally, public sector employees enjoyed more protection and due process because of civil service laws. In addition, many public sector workers, if they are unionized, are protected by collective bargaining agreements that contain a just cause standard for termination. Increasingly, though, states, localities, and public sector agencies at the federal level have been removing civil service protections and replacing them with at-will employment status. Currently, only Montana is not an at-will employment state where terminations can take place only for good cause. Even in the absence of civil service protections, public employment tends to have more protections than private sector employment because of organizational policies and employment laws. Another important difference between private and public sector HRM is the diffusion of authority. In the private sector, employees usually have just one boss, while in the public sector, employees have to respond to executive and political superiors. And finally, the most frequently discussed difference between public sector and private sector HR is the compensation structure and motivation. In the private sector, high performance is often rewarded with substantial bonuses and pay raises, while in the public sector, managers have to rely more on intrinsic forms of motivation. Research has shown that in the public sector, small bonuses are not effective in motivating employees, so it's better not to offer monetary bonus if there is no funding for a substantial one. This concludes the introductory lecture on human resource management. Thank you for listening and take care.